watch this show every single night, and I have a favor that I got to ask you tonight. A massive, massive favor that I have to ask you for tonight. When that day comes, hopefully not for a very, very long time, but when that day comes and your boy dies, I want you to allow the New York Yankees entire front office and staff and players to be my pallbearers, because then I know that they can let me down one more time. Nevertheless, we are live. You're not here to talk about the Yankees. I am watching Game 4. They're down 3-0. It is what it is. It is what it is. Not a lot I can do about it, but we're always going to be supportive around here. We don't run away when our teams do bad. Never. We don't run away when our teams do bad. Nevertheless, we got lots to talk about here tonight. Yes, I know that we got a little recruiting snafu going around. I told you and talked to you about this last week. Got to address something because I'm seeing a little bit too much of it. People trying to profit off of you, but that's never, that's neither here nor there. We'll talk about it. What you should know and what you need to know, we'll talk about it here tonight. Also, the cold hard facts that LSU is at. Where are they at? What do they need to do? We'll build that segment off of us talking about recruiting and things that you got to execute about, things that you are as a program right now. LSU's in a bye week reflecting on things. Why aren't we in a bye week reflecting things? I think that is what we should do, what we will do, and what we're going to do here tonight on the show. So we'll talk about some cold hard facts here for just a moment. Brian Kelly meets with the media. Got to be real with you about something, man. I think that this was the first time in a press conference under Brian Kelly that he said something that really made me scratch my head. So in case you missed it, Brian Kelly did meet with the media today. And there is abundantly something clear that he says that identifies a weakness of why they're having to do some things. But one key player that they didn't realize that they were not getting involved into the game, which is very interesting. So we'll talk about the Brian Kelly comments and big things that he talks about going into the week against Alabama. I talked to some people today because we were over with our good friends over at Service Hawk Digital. Yeah, did you see it? It's on YouTube. New and more LSU content, interviews, just individualized segments we're going to be doing over with our good friends Lee and Justin over at Service Digital. So let me just tell you this. If you have a business, own a business, and you want growth in your business, listen to your boy from someone who built off of social media, digitally. You need to go over, you need to go over and find our guys, Lee and Justin, over at Service Hawk Digital. They will help you grow your business. I promise you. These guys know exactly what they're doing. So we have partnered up with them. We are going to be doing some extra shows, interviews, podcasts from an indie location with our good friends over at Service Hawk Media. Or Service Hawk Digital, So I'm really looking forward to that, having the partnership with them. Go check out that segment from today. I thought we talked about a lot of really, really big things. That's what she said. But we did. But I was talking to a lot of people today, and it was interesting. A lot of people I feel like aren't really understanding of the 12-team playoff, right? Like I don't know if they fully have grasped that yet. Like I don't know that they have fully grasped the situation that you're not even remotely close to being out. That there are some people that believe that, man, if no telling what this goofy college football season's going to do. So you're not even remotely close to being out. If you win out, do you get a playoff game at home? Can you be one of the top 8 seeds in college football? That's where you stand, and that's what we're going to talk about with the cold hard truth here tonight. So I'm really looking forward to that. All right, let's get to some comments, thoughts, questions, concerns. Come at the end of the show because we'll get to your questions. Hashtag Ask Blake at the end here. Andrew, Paul's Hub, Martin starts it off tonight saying it's better you not ask the Yankees. I'll just send George Costanza to drop your casket. What a great reference. What a great reference. And I agree with Andrew. Trey says, Blake, if LSU doesn't make the playoff this year with all the experienced players, chances seem low for year 4. What are your thoughts? Well, look, here's what I'd say. Number one, you don't know who's coming back. You know, like guys still have COVID years because some guys, look, man, you have some guys that redshirted in 2020 and then they'll have 4 more years after that or 5 more years after that because that redshirt still went on the COVID year. See, here's what people don't understand. This is what people don't remotely come close to understanding. Oh, the COVID rule thing, it's over with now. There's no more players from COVID. That's not true. Guys, if you were a freshman in 2020, the year didn't count for you, and you can use a year as a redshirt. Like if you didn't play in 2020, you redshirted in 2021. So technically, on paper, you're a redshirted freshman. In year 3, you have 4 years. Now, I don't know how many or a lot of people players have that situation, but you have some. So I get to the point in saying I don't know how many people return. So I'm going to bow out on that one for the current moment. You never know what the new year is going to bring. Who do you bring in from the portal? Here's what I've said, and we're going to talk, Trey. It's interesting you asked that question. That's why I brought it up. Here's the interesting thing, okay, is that I do not want to make a Cheez-It Bowl. That's it. I don't ReliaQuest Bowl, nope. Nope. Not here. Because even though some people's expectations are lower than where they need to be on this place, even our local media and just some of the things that they say, okay, well, we're just not a playoff team right now. Okay, doesn't change expectations. By expectations, in an expanded playoff, I expect you to be there. That, guys, it's literally why I don't know why I have a hair literally in my eyeball. It's right here. I can't get it out. That's what she said. You fired Les because he was meeting the 9-3 purgatory, right? That's why his offense isn't adapting. He's still having issues here. That's why you fired him. That's just 1,000% why you fired him. So I say all that to say this. You have fired people based off of the expectations that you want. Then the expectations don't change. You can't recruit the way that you've been recruiting, and those expectations change. So I know that didn't completely answer your question, but my expectations don't change. I don't know what to tell you about 24. I think you're way too far out because of the portal. Cole Adams says, Blake, can we talk about drop balls in Ole Miss games and A&M that hit receivers in the hands? I counted 11 for sure. Yeah, Cole, it's a problem. It's a problem. It's got to stop. Cole, you had 3. Now, here's the thing about Ole Miss. What are you considering drops? The Xavion Jones diving for the ball is not a drop for me. If you got to leave your feet to make a catch, and a spectacular catch at that, guys, spectacular catches can't be drops. Well, he's got to haul it in. Yeah, he's got to haul it in. If you're making the play, you got to see it through. But that's not a drop to me. When Aaron Anderson went up the ladder and had to catch it and came down awkwardly and the ball juggled and touched the ground, that's not a drop to me. When you have to do something exceeding, when you have to make a miraculous play to try to get the football, that is not, for me, considered a drop. What's considered a drop is what we've been seeing from Kyron Lacy the last 3 weeks, right? That's what I would consider a drop. So, yeah. A couple more, then we'll get rolling here. Eric says, do you think Nuss comes back next year if he is a first or second round draft grade? If he's a first round draft grade, no. But here's the thing. I don't know if, number one, this quarterback class is that good like it was a year ago. And I'm going to be real with you. I know that there are a lot of people saying that this guy is that Garrett is or has a first round grade. If Garrett were doing this on any other team, let me ask you this. Put it in the comments right now. If Garrett Nussmeier were doing the same exact things on another team not named LSU, like if he had stayed and waited his turn and had the history of throwing the interceptions, but being a gunslinger, and then he's got 7 interceptions in a month in the SEC, what would you say about him? Because and I feel like I know the answer to that question. Do you want me to give you my answer? Here's my answer. You'd call him Carson Beck. You call him Carson Beck. So, guys, I'm not going down this rabbit hole again. It blows my ever-living mind to see some of y'all's takes on Twitter. I see them. I see them. Anybody in the media that tells you that they don't see them, they are lying their ass off. That's how the algorithm works. I promise you they are seeing your tweets. Everybody in this media core, they can tell you that they don't. They are full of shit. So when they come to you and say, well, it feels like the fan base is saying this, and they base their topics off of it, they base the topics off of your emotion. I mean, I do it. We're going to talk about the trendy stuff, right? Like we will always talk about the trendy stuff. Always are going to talk about the trendy stuff. So people not taking the turnovers as seriously as they should be are absolutely outside of their box. I'm sorry. Now, do I think Garrett, when he leaves LSU, can have a first-round grade? I'll take it a step further. Not only do I think that Garrett Nussmeier, when he leaves LSU, has the potential to have what a lot of these draft guys are saying, a first-round grade on him. I think Nuss inside of him has the ability to not just be a first-round draft grade. Guys, you're talking about a top 5 pick. Some of the throws that he makes is top 5 pick level, right? Like, I mean, you can't ignore that. You cannot ignore some of the things that he does. But there are also issues. Like when you have a massive plus, you also have the minus. Boom, 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 boom. I mean, like checks and balances on these things. He has that type of potential. So do I think he can get there? 1,000% he can get there. There's no doubt about that. I don't think people are understanding the amount of turnovers. You notice how a lot of people got quiet this week. So, anyway. DZ Visuals sends a $2 super chat. Thank you so much, DZ. Very much appreciated. Do you have a comment? If you have a comment, we'll read it. We will read it. Waylon says Nuss doesn't have an offensive coordinator to put him in position to succeed. Waylon, here's the disconnect. We got to get rolling. I'm way past the time here. Here's the disconnect when you say something like that for me. Here's a debate. Here's just a conversation. Okay? Here's a conversation. The conversation that I would have with you is, I'm not arguing with you. The conversation that I would have with you is, okay, the play call has nothing to do with throwing the ball up to a 5'7" receiver. Nothing. It doesn't have anything to do with you throwing the ball right at a guy on a check down. It doesn't. He threw it in triple coverage against South Carolina. That's not on play calling. Guys, we got to separate what the play call is versus what is actually going on. right? Like, I mean, if this were you're running a bad route concept and he's got to throw it here to try to make a completion, okay, fine. Like in the second interception against A&M, okay, that would be on. I would give that to Sloan, but it's still the player on the field that's executing or not executing. So, yeah. All right, let's get rolling. DZ with the $2 super chat, he sent this in. He says, who transfers out if Nuss does come back, Hurley or Collins? Right now, I'd say Ricky Collins, without a doubt. I'd say Ricky Collins. If I had to guess, it would be Ricky Collins. All right, let's get moving. Everybody do us a favor by hitting the like and share. Share to all those groups. If you're on Facebook, share to all of those social media pages. You're watching us, listening to us on YouTube. Like, subscribe, and notification bell wherever you listen to podcasts. Rate, review, and subscribe. Got to talk to you about our good friends over at Cherry Bundy. Guys, 66 of the 67 Power 4 teams use Cherry Bundy. Let me tell you about my experience. Some of you know your boy was a little bit bigger this time last year. Started losing some weight. Started going to the gym. Started eating healthier. The recovery from the gym, Cherry Bundy has 1,000% help there. Their tart cherries has a bunch of antioxidants. It helps for sleep, recovery, all of it. I'm telling you, you can tell after a workout when you go to, like I go to sleep, then take one to go to sleep. You can tell the difference in recovery. I can tell it when I'm lifting. I can 100% tell it when I'm lifting. Oh, man, I forgot to do it. You know, I was going to bed late. I'm just tired, was going to bed, whatever. I'm telling you, you can tell. For all of those, for all of you that are just like to go to the gym, need recovery, need some help and assistance with sleep, Cherry Bundy is the way to go. Go get them at their website, cherrybundi.com. That's CHERIBUNDI.com, or wherever your local place has it, Publix or Kroger, Walmart, all that good stuff. You can get it there as well. All right. Let's get rolling. We'll come right back. We got lots to discuss. We do that next. Stay with us. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way for you to wager on all of your favorite sports, contests, events with the first-to-market odds and lines. Find reviews for all the news for each league, including Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA, NHL, combat sports, college sports, esports, and even golf. BetOnline continues to be the top online resource for all of your sports information for live in-game betting, props, and futures. Head on over to BetOnline today and use your mobile device to join and make your first sports bet. Use our promo code BELIEVE50, that's BELIEVE50, BLEAV 50, to receive your 50% off welcome bonus on your first deposit. That's betonline.ag, betonline.ag.
He will sell your house and find you a new. Well, Tyler's the man, he's here for you. If you want to buy or sell, well, it's not too late. Dial 955-0008. Just call 955-0008. Y'all call Tyler, he'll shoot you straight.
Louisiana is unique. The food, the festivals, even the bugs. No, not mud bugs. Unwanted bugs like these. The ones you don't want crawling in your home or business. Trust the Shield from J&J Exterminating. We've been protecting Louisiana homes for over 50 years, earning the trust of our clients because we deliver what we promise. Protect your home from pests. Get the Shield from J&J Exterminating.
J&J Exterminating. Yeah.
J&J has protected Louisiana homes and businesses for over 60 years.
Call him today, make the pests go away. J&J Exterminating. Yeah.
There is probably nobody in sports that I hate more right now. Nobody that I hate more right now than Freddie Freeman. Game 4. I'm about to turn the game off. It's sitting right here in the studio. I'm literally about to turn it off. Just hit another 2-run home run. I can't take this. I legitimately cannot take this. Not after LSU loses. Not after the Saints lose. I can't take this. I 1,000% cannot take this. Let's get to it. So I see a lot of the things going around. There's a lot of chirping going around in reference to LSU recruiting. You know, Bryce Underwood. A lot of people have questions in reference to the number one prospect in the country. A lot of people have questions in reference to what his status may be. You know, how much has Michigan gotten into the fold? What has the status been on what was the number one player in the 2026 class, Jakeem Stewart? Now that he's reclassified, what is his status? Here's what I'm going to tell you in a little bit of an opening rant. Guys, recruiting's not difficult. And every single year, I feel like we get to a point where all this stuff has been said. There's been this thing that's happened and that thing that's happened. This positive for your team, that one not positive for your team. And even when you get to the commitment, it's not completely over. And on and on and on the recruiting circle goes. We live with it. We actually somewhat, whether we want to admit it or not, when we win those battles, we actually start loving recruiting and what is going on. But the bottom line is, with a guy like Bryce Underwood, who Michigan is doing whatever they can to keep the top player in their state in home. Good on them. They were never, and I mean ever, like I told you last week when the discussion and comments started coming up, I never once thought and have told you multiple times, even when he committed to LSU, and it was a great day, a glorious day, never once did we not talk about if you would be kidding yourself if Michigan did not get back in the fold here with the number one player in their state. Guys, come on. You would do it. Wait a minute. You actually did it last year because Don McKinley was the number one player in the state who was committed to Texas A&M. Until the very end, you kept fighting, and Frank Wilson goes out to the 3-3-7, the glorious 3-3-7. Don't tell the guys over at the Cajun guys. Don't tell the Raging Cajun guys that I just said that the 3-3-7 is glorious. Don't you dare tell them that. I said that. Don't do it. However, you landed with the number one player in your state. So I bring up the point. You're not the only school or university or blue blood or whatever you want to label yourself as and what your status is in college football that wants to go and get and maintain the number one player in their state. Bryce Underwood coming to LSU versus Alabama, close the door. Close the door. You're getting him here, which tells me a lot. Tells me where things are. Tells me that two big things. It tells me that in a world of NIL, time to play. I know you already probably have, but time to play. It's nitty-gritty time now. Nitty-gritty time now. You know, Joe Sloan, from a lot of you, could use some favor after what you or what your opinion has grown on him here of late. Close the deal. End it. 1,000% end it. Because when you do, whether anybody wants to admit this to you or not, and you close the deal, yeah, we're going to go ahead and shut down our recruitment. LSU beats Alabama. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and shut down my recruitment, says Bryce Underwood. That's what you're hoping and you want to happen. Close the deal. Close it. It's the ABCs of recruiting. A, always. B, C, closing. Always be closing. The ABCs of recruiting. It's never changed. It's not going to change. The core principle of it's there. And now that the sausage is out of the container, I say container. But now that the sausage is out and you're seeing how it's being made, things don't change. Things never will change in that regard. Same with Jakeem Stewart. Close the deal. I know there's a lot of chirping. Anybody chirping, say, I have this feeling, I know what that's going on over there. Guys, you're not building off of what's going to happen in 2 weeks. It's too soon. Doesn't mean you shouldn't be talking about it. Doesn't mean that Michigan isn't playing ball here. Doesn't mean that Dave Portnoy at Barstool hasn't gone out there and says what he said. Probably a little targeted. My grandfather, Nunzio Rufino, great Italian. Can't have a name like Nunzio and not be a great Italian. He always used to tell me, BS walks, money talks. Always be closing. So the level of your concern, warranted. You know, I would say it's like, you know, if you're not in a relationship yet, but you're talking to this man or woman, and you know that they might, you know, that person might have, you know, maybe she's like talking to other guys besides me. Like, what's going on over here? You're aware of it. You don't want to kind of freak out. You're not in a relationship, but you're aware of that situation potentially going on. And you say to yourself, I better close the deal here. You know, that's what I should say if we're going to speak about relationships. Why your boy closed the deal with a smoke show? You know what I mean? You got to always be closing. Your level of concern should be warranted. It's probably the most asked question I get on a daily basis. Actually, it is the number one question per day from LSU fans that I get asked. It's not about this opinion or that opinion or what do I think about this or what do I think about that. None of that happens. I could show you the DMs. They want to know one thing. What's up with Bryce Underwood? Well, you'll find out in 2 weeks. Unless something miraculous happens, and I'm talking about miraculous, from Michigan, where the kid's not here against Alabama, boy, does it make this game ever so bigger, even much bigger now. You know, I was thinking about this, and it kind of goes into the segment in the conversation that I wanted to have with you tonight. It's kind of like the cold hard truth. Where are you? Well, here's the real thing. You know, and I know, and everybody else knows that if you go out there in a couple of weeks and you beat Alabama with Bryce Underwood in the building, Jakeem Stewart in the building, all of these situations, you're still in the contender block of making the playoffs. You know, our friends over at BetOnline, you know, they would probably have LSU around if they did, you know, if they did this, they would have LSU in the first team out. It's like we should have asked them. Well, we did. You're sitting around that 13, 14, 15 mark. Not out of the playoff race. Team up top above you loses. You beat Alabama. You finish the regular season 10-2. You're going to be there. You're going to be there. Okay, you lost to USC early in the season because you're replacing a Heisman Trophy winning quarterback. 2 first-round wide receivers. Oh, and by the way, what you've done with your defense to go 10-2 after, quite honestly, you had a Heisman Trophy winner. Like if Jaden Daniels would have had that, what would have happened? Those will be the conversation pieces. But here's the cold hard truth. There are some things that you got to overcome. And Bryce Underwood being there, Stewart being there, and all these guys that are going to be there. You have one thing that you got to accomplish. Win out. The pressure's on now, man. The pressure is on. You know, I look at this team. There are 3 things that can be identified right now with this team. Guys, you're 76th in the country in turnovers. You're 89th in the country in pass defense. You're 79th on third down defense. And you're 111th in rushing offense. You have big weaknesses in big key areas. I mean, technically, you've been better at getting off the field on third down. You're much better this year than you were last year. You can see with your eyeballs that Blake Baker has been sending pressures and getting after the quarterback, and you're 6th in the country in sacks, and a lot of the big plays that you've been making is actually on third down. So maybe that statistic's not as big as it once, or the way that it looks. But the bottom line becomes is this. Guys, I got to tell you the cold hard truth. I think that you can win out, but man, if some of these things, rushing offense, third down defense, turnovers, pass defense, if two of those areas don't start getting better, you're not making the playoff. You're not. I think you should be in there. Guys, there's no way. There is no way that you can look at teams around the country and say to yourself, if you play turnover-free football, man, we got a shot to beat them. I think that you do. Now, there are a couple of teams like Oregon, Ohio State, potentially Georgia, Texas, that I don't think that you can beat. Like, I don't think you can beat those teams. You're not tough enough to beat those teams. But I'm going to tell you, man, this Bama game's massive. Because if you do win it, you go in there and you beat Bama. Guys, I'm not saying that the rest of your schedule is a cakewalk. But you're more than expected at that given moment to make a playoff. More than expected. There's no reason whatsoever that you should go in the swamp and lose. None. Blake, the swamp is a tough place to play. You're right, it is. It's a very tough place to play. They're not a better team than you. They are not a better team than you. By the way, if you can't run the football in Florida, you're in massive trouble. Guys, they're 94th in the country. 94th in the country in run defense. If you can't run the ball on them, you don't deserve to go to the playoff. You don't deserve it. Vandy. All right. Yeah, Vandy can be a very tough game. You're right. It can be. They're scrappy. I know they beat Bama. I know they lost to Texas by 3. I get that. I 1,000% get that. I got to tell you, man, don't you dare tell me that you don't think that. Don't you dare tell me that you don't look at 3 of the next 4 games and say, listen, I know that we have issues. I get it. We do. Because I got to tell you, I don't know if Vandy is better than South Carolina. I don't know that. Just because they beat Bama and close to Texas, I don't know that. South Carolina was close to Bama. Now, Bama beat them, and that I get that. Transitive property doesn't work here. It doesn't. Because I know what that South Carolina defense can do. We might see it this weekend against Texas A&M. You know, as an LSU fan. I just think you got so much left on the table, man, as a team. So much left on the table. I know a lot of people don't believe in you. It's fine. I get it. Because a lot of people don't. Because you're not winning in big moments. And here's the cold hard reality. Guys, you're not winning taking the Bama game out, and I shouldn't do that. Actually, I'm not going to. Because majority of the time in these bigger moments on the road, you lose. Guys, at home, you've been phenomenal the last 3 years. You've been really good. You've lost 1 game in that time span. You lost to Tennessee. If you would have told me, Blake, Brian Kelly will not lose but 1 game at home in year 1, would be the only time at home that he would lose. Into year 3, would you take it? Guys, there's not a one of you in here that wouldn't take that. Not one. What it also would tell me is that, hey, man, we're probably not going to lose. We may lose 2 road games. Possible. Are you losing all 3 of them? Okay. Guys, you have 3 games at home. I just don't see you going on any 3 or 2 game losing stretch here. I can't see it. I just cannot see it. Now, if you did, you know what I'm going to say. I'm not going to bring it up. If that actually did happen, It's mainly due to the fact because you're turning the ball over. But, or you're not able to run the football or your defense is regressing. Name any specific thing. The cold hard reality is that now you got to finish. You got to finish. Always be closing is what we talked about in recruiting just a minute ago. Always be closing. Always be finishing. I know a couple of you got a chuckle out of that. You got a massive game at home versus Alabama. They're not going to they want the same thing that you do. The same thing that you do is what Alabama wants. Both teams going into a hostile environment, into a loud environment. Two teams are walking out because their goals are right in front of their face. There's no other way for Brian Kelly to make a playoff than this one. Like, hey, man, got beat at A&M, went into a bye. We won the last 4. We got in. Guys, if you win 10 games in the regular season, you're getting in. You got to take them one at a time. Bama presents, and we'll talk about this tomorrow a little bit, but Bama presents you a lot of problems. A lot of problems. So now you got to go out there and take what's yours. Guys, you lost to A&M, and your playoff odds on BetOnline kind of went down a little. Not much. Not much. Let me get back to something that I said earlier. 3 or 4 main areas that you got to work on. It's bad right now. Passing defense, for what it's worth, guys, you're still giving up a lot of yardage. I know that we're going to regress it down to the A&M game and say to ourselves, well, you know what, man? We only allowed 8 completions, and A&M didn't throw on us. Ole Miss did. Ole Miss threw on you. Trey Harris is still in the back of the end zone. They threw on you. Arkansas. Guys, I know you had the massive pick. Guys, Taylon Green did not have a bad game at all. That's how they were moving the football. They had 10 points. I get it. And your defense had a great performance against the 7th overall total offense in the country. That's where Arkansas is right now. But, man, you got to clean that up. And to be honest with you, I don't want to see that funky formation from Blake Baker again. You can be creative by not doing that. Remember when he ran that funky, I formation and it was 3rd and 7 and A&M ran the ball for a first down? What are we doing? What are we doing? Guys, they checked to a run on that. Wigman looked to the sideline and literally got a run call, and they ran it right at you. You didn't run it again, but even then, what are we doing? You ran gimmicky shit like that only to get your ass beat. Come on, dude. Come on, bro. That. It worked against Arkansas. I don't give 2 shits if it worked against Arkansas. This isn't Arkansas. The cold hard truth. You should be there, man. Your expectation for this season should be a playoff. I'm telling you. Blake, how can you say that watching this team? Because, guys, I think that you can beat Bama at home. I think you can beat the other 3 teams on your schedule. You got a massive test in Bama. No one is downplaying that. Nobody is downplaying that Bama game. Not here, not me. Trust me, not me. There does come a moment in time, though. We're there. You're in year 3 of your head coach. You're paying him a lot of money to be there. Anyway, Let me get to this. Let me get to Brian Kelly for just a moment. So Brian Kelly met with the media today. And normally early in the week, we talk about this on Thursdays. I don't really bring up a lot of stuff that BK says on Mondays, but we just jot it down in there on big, key, significant stuff. Yesterday, me and you had a conversation where I almost popped a couple blood vessels. And I told you that I was tired of seeing people on Twitter and people in our media talking about how does Blake Baker and Brian Kelly not prepare for the zone read? Brian Kelly, the first thing he was asked today, he was like, Coach, Marcel Reed, it was said that y'all didn't work on it. He goes, no, our game plan was for Connor Weigman. But guys, when Marcel Reed came in, I don't think that people understand or don't get it. I don't know. Guys, in a basic defense, nothing changes. Nothing changes if Connor Weigman is at quarterback or if Marcel Reed is at quarterback. If both of them are running the zone read, no principles change. Who has the pitch man, or when this, I say pitch man, who has the QB, who has the running back, and if there is an option behind it or a jet sweep, who's got that man? Are they running the veer? Are they running the read? What are they doing? Are they running a counter off of it? How are they blocking it? What are they doing? And Brian Kelly came out, and I echoed this last night before he even spoke to the media. Listen, zone read is one of the more basic things that happens in college football today. Basic. The principles are very basic. It's not overly complicated at all. Guys, it's 3 easy steps. Either I'm supposed to stay in my gap and let the other guys do what they're supposed to do to their assignments, and I'm supposed to fill my gap and get to the ball carrier. There's nothing, or I'm supposed to go down to the running back. There's nothing spectacular about that. Brian Kelly said, we have prepared for this. We have prepared for the option, or we have prepared for the zone read stuff. We prepared for it last week. We prepared for it the week before against Arkansas. We prepared for it against Ole Miss. We prepared for it against South Carolina. Guys, he's not wrong. What is interesting is that now, because it's so magnified, like the Marcel Reed incident is so magnified because what happened last Saturday, guys, there is no rhyme or reason why they are not massively working on zone read principle stuff now that Milroe is coming into town in 2 weeks. It's not happening. So you and I probably both know that if Blake Baker and Brian Kelly, of all people, that have 2 weeks to help a defense prepare and go over a lot of stuff, do you really believe it's not them not going over it versus execution? So this whole narrative, we did not prepare for Marcel Reed. Maybe you didn't have a game plan to come into the game for Marcel Reed. That's a whole different conversation. But the conversation's also got to start at and live at what is going on in reference to basic principles. I'm glad that question was brought up, and I'm glad that it was answered the way that we all know it should have been answered. Brian Kelly was asked about Garrett Nussmeier's confidence. He says he goes on this elaborate like, well, what about Jane Daniels at Auburn? What about Jane Daniels at Arkansas? Okay. So the difference in those are pretty massive. Like it's a pretty massive comparison to say for me that Garrett's mistakes and issues right now are equally as big as the struggles that Jaden had in the year one of a head coach at a new place when there were so many things being figured out. And he's the one that wind up leading you to the SEC West Championship. He was the one that led you to a win over Alabama. He's the one that led you to many heights this season after that. But even before that, turnovers are not big. Like, it's not the same. What I think that he's trying to say and explain is that, guys, Garrett Nussmeier knows what is going on. He's not dumb. He understands what's going on. Son of a coach, we've been talking to him and preaching to him about it. He knows. I really don't think Garrett lacks for any confidence. If anything, the confidence needs to be reined down a little. I can make that throw. I can go off platform, open my right hip and just throw off platform without setting my feet. Like, I can do that. I can look like a second baseman and make that throw. And you can. You 1,000% can. It got picked. I think that confidence is not Garrett Nussmeier's issue, if I'm being completely honest with you. Brian Kelly was asked about the kicking game. I got to be real with you. I think it's going to be fixed. I don't have a problem with it. I think that it was bad. Yes, it will be fixed. They're going to have to show me another game of it being really bad. Am I aware of it? Yes. Do I think it's going to happen again? No, I don't. Brian Kelly was asked about Garrett Dellinger going down. He said he had a high ankle sprain. Well, high ankle sprains are usually, 3 to 4 weeks? Could be longer. Maybe 2 weeks if they really treat it and he gets a shot. I don't know. I don't know if Garrett Dellinger is going to be playing against Bama. It's something to really monitor. And if he doesn't, Paul Mabenga, it's time to step in, buddy. It's time to step in. Injuries happen on both lines of scrimmage. Things happen. Brian Kelly was asked an interesting question on this. So I brought this up today when we were at Service Hawk Digital. And it's all the segment and everything's on our YouTube channel. Just go over there and subscribe. So I brought this up today. I was like, listen, and me and you were specifically talking about the running game. And in that running game, okay, a point I brought up was, why aren't you giving Garrett Nussmeier early reads or early throws, early easy throws? Now, you are doing that. He got picked off on one. Guys, he got picked off on an early throw and a hitch route. So to say he's not getting some of those is actually kind of bad. But he was asked about the screen game. And in that, Brian Kelly says they should take my screen card, meaning like his, basically, if for coaches that call a lot of screens, that he used to be one of them, and that they should take his privilege for ever calling them again. Okay. So basically what he's saying is, I love screens, but I don't think we're in a position to do them. Why not? Now, he would wind up saying, I don't think the lineman can get out. Maybe the way that we throw it and the way that we execute it and block it, we're not able to really get our assignments down. Okay. Then can we find somebody that if you want to throw a quick game that can do it? Like, do we not have anybody that can do it? Because I'm going to tell you this. I feel like Aaron Anderson has to see more touches. Like, it is of my humble opinion that number one has got to be fed the football. It's interesting. I don't want to compare him to Malik. I feel like that we are seeing Aaron as what he can be in a way, because even though it's not the same production as Malik had in 2022, I feel the same big moment plays. Damn, Aaron catching a game time touchdown against Ole Miss. Did Aaron Anderson took a slant route 75 yards? Wait, he leads the team with catches on third downs, you got to feed him more. So, in reference to the Brian Kelly question, I don't know. Can we not, like, are we so bad on offense that we cannot throw a bubble screen? Is that what's being said here? I mean, guys, there are so many. How many of you in here, thumbs up in the chat, thumbs up, thumbs down. How many of you watch the NFL? How many of you? I would think a lot of you watch NFL football games. Remember when Drew Brees, as an example, shotgun or even under center, that if the receiver was getting played off a lot, like if they were backing off the receiver, that Drew would give some kind of hand motion, said hut, and he just throw it right at Mike Thomas. Mike Thomas get like 6, 7, 8 yards. Even if it's 3 yards. I mean, okay. I mean, you're trying to keep him honest. I get it. You saw something that's a quarterback. Okay, what is he saying? What is he trying to do? Well, why is he doing that? Why do they want him to come play up? Hey, come on. Yeah, let's take that deep shot. Come on. I'm gonna keep dunking this off. Like, we're that bad. I'm not buying that. I'm not buying it. I'm 1,000% not buying that. Last thing here before we get to a quick break. It leads me to my next point, because more than Aaron Anderson that I think needs to be fed. I mean, the question was asked today, but to Brian Kelly. Guys, I brought this up 2 weeks in a row on these shows. Brian Kelly was asked about Mason Taylor and why he's only getting 3 targets a game in the last month. I wonder when that, brother. All right, now, some of y'all do it. I know that some of the media watches this show because I know where that question gets formed from. Why is Mason Taylor only getting 3 targets? He's one of your best playmakers. Brian Kelly said, on Taylor, on getting the football, I haven't really looked into it that much. When we're at our best, we get him involved. I mean, what? That's not an answer. It's not an answer. Guys, I got to be real with you. It's the worst Brian Kelly press conference I've heard. And here's the good thing. If that's the worst thing, if that is the worst thing, then God help us. If that's the worst we're going to get, God help us. People magnify him slamming his fist on the table. Who gives a shit? He's pissed off. They blew that shit out of proportion. I'm humiliated because it's our coach and he's doing that. Who gives a shit? Who gives a shit? It's not that big of a deal. Our last head coach was, had nudes with women. So I'm not really like both of them were fully nude. So I mean, like, this is a little bit different. The viral thing is because he's trying to make his football team better. Okay. Now, I'm not saying BK isn't doing that. I'm just going to say that right. I don't mean maybe he is, but at least it's not as a selfie. I don't know, man. How do you not know that Mason Taylor isn't getting enough looks? Like, how is that possible? You get what I'm saying? Like, how is that like yours? We're all supposed to have so much attention to detail that we don't know that. Now, could that be on Joe Sloan? Sure. But is Brian Kelly on the headset like a crucial third down? Hey, let's find a way to get the ball to Mason Taylor. I don't know that. But I know Mason Taylor makes freaky ass plays. I know that. I'm not saying to not feed Kyron Lacy the ball, but guys, you're throwing it about 50 times a game in these big games. All right? And if you're throwing it that much, I mean, one guy cannot get that many targets. Can't happen. Not for the Kyron Lacy has more targets than the production of those targets that he's getting. Fair or unfair? Doesn't make Kyron Lacy a less of a receiver on that. You got to distribute the football a little bit better. Sorry, you do. So I don't agree with BK on that at all. All right. I saw this. I wanted to get to it before we moved on here. Dylan says, Blake, just think of the line with Hurd, Will, Emery, Chester, Dellinger. Go listen to the show from last night. Carver says BK is doing his best not to throw Nuss totally under the bus. He is pissed. I could see where you would say that. X Masked says, I'd be threatened to transfer if I don't get the ball more. Mason is open 90% of the time. Well, Mason's probably going to – I would expect him to I would expect him to go in the draft. But, he hasn't had a lot of production to say that. Maybe he does come back. I don't know. God, if he did come back, it'd be massive for you. But, I don't know. Danny Girl says, BK constantly walking the line to not throw Nuss or Sloan under the bus, that nothing he says makes sense, and he should be taken with a grain of salt. Yeah, but then he's doing a bad job of doing it. Because the bottom line for me on this one is like come on, man. Like you can't say that. You can't say that now. So, like, guys, you told me to judge you off year 3. I still like Brian Kelly for what it's worth. I feel like this is the most I bashed the man. I like Brian Kelly a lot. But there comes a part where I'm like, hey, man, what's going on? Like, these turnovers got to stop. It's the biggest concern that I've ever had under Brian Kelly. Guys, anything could have – we talked about this. Anything could have happened for me in year 1. Anything. Like, what are you going to do? Anything could have happened. He overachieved in year 1. Massively overachieved. With the situation that he had at hand. Massively overachieved. Last year was last year. Defense, ass. Complete ass. Utter ass. House ass. Horrible. And, I see players and ex-coaches going, after Matt House. Well, the player, you were in the game. You don't have to do what he's called. You don't have to do that. Oh, it'll take me on. Okay, well, then what? It's not like you're getting production on the field anyway. You're not doing anything anyway. Clowning Louisiana. I like Jamar Cain. I love him. That was a little too petty. So, yeah. All right. Let me get to a quick break. We're going to come back, get your thoughts, questions, concerns. Fire them inside of the Rudy Crew chat. We'll get to them. So, hashtag Ask Blake. Ask all those questions. Be right back. Guys, I want to talk to you about our good friends over the Drake Williams Law Firm and Drake Title Company. Are you facing tough times due to an injury from a car accident, navigating the complexities of divorce, or purchasing a new home? At the Drake Williams Law Firm and Drake Title Company, they understand the challenges you're going through, and they are here to help. The lawyer team of Ernie Drake III, Ryan J. Williams, and Summer Vignair, along with Morgan Daniels, have the experience and proven track record to give you that peace of mind. Give them a call today at 985-386-7600. That's 985-386-7600 to schedule a free consultation at their brand new office located in historic downtown Ponchatoula. They're also doing a special, the AYS special. If you're refinancing or closing on a home in Southeast Louisiana, request the Drake title company to handle your closing. If you mention Blake Ruffino and AYS, you're going to receive a $400 discount on title fees. Again, give them a call at 985-386-7600. Let them know that Blake Ruffino sent you on by. I interrupt this commercial break because I just noticed this. Ryan Williams, our good friend, $5. I played this after his ad, by the way, on this show. So not only is he paying for the ad that was just before this, he sends in a $5 super chat saying, just coming to say that Freddie Freeman is the Yankees' daddy. He just homered again off of your Yankees. Thank you, Ryan. Guys, you might know my good friend Carol Falls and all the great service that he provides over at State Farm. He is your good neighbor after all. But did you know State Farm has surprisingly great rates as well? Along with the great neighbor service, State Farm agent Carol Falls has surprisingly great rates for everyone inside the state of Louisiana. So call him today at 985-395-4300, 985-395-4300 for all of those surprisingly great rates on auto, home, and life insurance needs. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there, and individual premiums will vary by customer. All applicants subject to the State Farm underwriting requirements. Speaking of Freddie Freeman, he's back up at the plate. Let me try to get a couple comments here before we get out of here. He says, Brandon says, move Perk to running back. Well, he's hurt, and he's not coming back probably, and he's going to go into the NFL. Danny says, we as fans are expecting our wide receivers to be Malik, and in some ways, so is Nuss, thinking they can do what previous wide receivers do. We have a room of wide receiver 2s and 3s, good sometimes, great, not elite. Taking a 75-yard slant for a touchdown is not really, I mean, it's kind of special if we're being honest, Danny. It's a special play. Not a lot of people can do that. I don't know how I feel about that, to be real with you. Jordan says we need Perk. Man, it's crazy. Like last week when Weeks went off, everybody's like, we're better without Perkins. Brandon Reese says, hashtag Ask Blake, do you think Perkins should come back next year? Do I think he should come back? Yes. Do I think he will come back? No. No, I don't. And for his sake, no, I hope he doesn't. Because, I mean, he needs to go make his money. At least we get to see Whit Weeks next year. Well, guys, y'all are going to have a hard conversation about Whit Weeks. Like, he's good in some games and instances. In some games, he's really bad. It's either really hit or miss right now with him. Moses says, don't take a Malik to catch a TD Hilton missed or on the sideline. He could have just ran under. Yeah, I mean, look, timing is a big issue there. The thing with Chris is that I think everybody knows that you're running a go ball with him. And when you ran the hitch route with him, when you ran the dig route with him, guys, there's a reason that he went off. You gotta let him do other things. You can't get pigeonholed. Everybody knows that you're going to do that. So yeah. In reference to that, like I think you were missing a lot of things offensively. Like Jaden, here's what Jaden masked when he missed dudes. Jaden masked that, like, even if I'm missing guys, I'm good enough to run and get 10 yards. So it didn't ultimately matter. He made a bad decision and then had the ability to turn it into a good decision. That's the difference here. And that's why it's masked in this situation. I'm not getting mad when a dude runs the ball for 10 yards. Guys, I'm sorry. I'm just not. If he misses a touchdown, yeah, you got to hit that. But at the same time, he ran and got 10 yards. All right. Guys, when you fail right now, you fail. It's not like you're getting positive yardage. I think it's a massive deal. Otis with a $5 super chat says, we got to stop force feeding Kyron and spread the ball around. Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty evident at this point, like very evident at this point that that's got to happen. It's not happening. Like, I don't know if Kyron should have 10 targets or not. I think about 8 to 10, 10 being the most. That should be about it. If you're going to throw the ball that much, which you are throwing the ball that much. And if you are going to throw the ball that much, right? Like if you're going to throw the ball that much, then the production you're getting is not worth the reward of the throw, statistically speaking. Versus when you actually throw a route to Aaron Anderson and the percentage of targets and the receptions and everything else is higher, then yeah. I mean, gosh, when you're throwing the ball, listen, when you go full on air raid, you have to play the percentages. It's like what the A's do. You can never take a deficit if you're taking a profit. You can never go broke when you're taking a profit. Never. Can you execute it? All right. We'll see y'all tomorrow, man. We're going to try to guess it up tomorrow. That's what I think we should do. See you tomorrow. Peace.